Thank you for staying with us. Now, that our courts are assuming notoriety of issuing conflicting orders is alarming. To arrest this aberration, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, has summoned 6 chief judges over conflicting court orders that emanated from their states in the last 1 month. The affected judges are those of Rivers, Kebbi, Cross River, Anambra, Jigawa, and Imo states. In a letter of summon, the CJN said the briefing is necessary following earlier warning by the National Judicial Council, NJC, to judicial officers to stop granting frivolous injunction. Julie, it's been like a child play, and this is not the first time we've been experiencing something like this. If you remember when the People's Democratic Party had their problem, that when they had 2 factions, one faction being controlled by the former Kaduna State Governor and another faction being controlled by the former Borno State's Governor. People were shopping for ex parte order around the country from different courts of concurrent jurisdiction, and this makes it so confusing and worrisome. The case study here now, when you look at the case of the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party and the Anambra governorship election. In fact, at a point in time, the Independent National Electoral Commission came out to tell Nigerians that if care is not taken with this conflicting order, we might not know who will stand as candidates for the November 6th governorship election. Jide, over to you on this.
Yes, and I think the CJN has done the right thing by summoning those the chief judges of those states, because it is the responsibility of the chief judge of a state to assign cases to judges. So when you assign a case to a judge, it means that you as the chief judge can vouch for not only the competence of that judge, but his impartiality and independence. Because all those 3 qualities are important if you are looking for a good judge. The judge must be impartial, he must be excellent at his job, and he must be independent-minded. So it is the responsibility of the chief judge to assign cases to the right judges. So the buck stops at their desk. And I can understand why the CJN sent for them, because, look, the question that would then be asked is, what kind of judges are running the courts in your states? Because some of these judgments or these orders are extremely frivolous and hampers the confidence that people have in the judiciary. For example, on the Anambra matter, because INEC was increasingly at the receiving end of the Jakara injunctions that the politicians were goading the judiciary to give them. One of the parties to the conflict within the ABGA went all the way to Birnin Kudu in Jigawa State to get an order. So the judge, in giving that order, did not even think about jurisdiction. All it was after was, let me just give these people want the order.
Most of these
let me give the order.
Ex parte orders. They're not
let
just
me give the order.
That order that you can file without giving this to.
Ideally, and it happened even in the case of Secondus. A court in Rivers State said Secondus should stop parading himself as the national chairman of the party, should stop attending even meetings of the party. Fine. What do you then do? The right thing to do is to go back to that court, lay some facts before the court.
Or you can even appeal?
Okay. To say, see, there are some material facts in respect of this case that were not presented before you gave that order. Therefore, listen to us, vacate that order. You can get that same court to vacate the order, but they must have felt in weakest rivers they will never get a court. Then
apply
all the way to Kebbi. So and the court that gave the order over there does not have the locus, because a court of concurrent jurisdiction cannot vacate an order given by a court at the same level. You must go to a superior court or go to that same court to have that order vacated. It's possible.
Okay. Nwako, why is it that it's difficult to have like a central data for these court cases and court information? That if somebody in that same case had already approached Rivers State High Court, and me, I want to go and get another counter order in Kebbi, yes, why can't there be a central information system that we say, look, this is ongoing in Rivers State. You guys pursue whatever you are pursuing in Rivers State. You don't need to come here. I'm not even talking about maybe maybe it's a state crime or nothing. Or what I'm trying to say is that at least something that will give information. This same case, you can discover that 4 or 5 courts from different states they want to adjudicate on it.
Yeah, this is a gangrene that has, destroyed the fabric of the judiciary. It's not as if they don't know, even though what you are saying is proper. Because I listened to one senior advocate this morning, who, reasoned along that line, that there should be a system whereby before a lawyer goes to court, on a similar matter, he must have to swear an affidavit to say, to the base of his knowledge, that there is no such case that have been handled by any court in Nigeria.
Simple.
That it should be part of a judicial reform that must take place if we have to stem this, the tide of this, nonsense. But the issue is that the judges and even the lawyers, all of them are away. I'm not a lawyer, you are not a lawyer. By the time the Rivers Court gave a judgment against Secondus, continued to stay in office as a chairman of PDP, you knew about it. I knew about it. How come that a practicing lawyer in this country will not be aware of that? Or a judge will not be aware of that? They are aware of that. What happens in our court system is just pure transactions. That's why they call it shopping. You shop for judgment.
Forum shopping.
Forum shopping. And that has destroyed the Nigerian state. If you say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and then this last hope, is in the cesspool of, corruption and abuse of court process, how would that society, thrive? That's the challenge that we have. That's the challenge that we have. I don't have so much faith, even though what the CJN is about to do is the right thing. But I don't have so much faith in it, because virtually every CJN in Nigeria have done similar things.
Yes.
Summoning them or giving instructions at conferences against,
that will ensure they don't do
giving
that kind of thing again?
interlocutory injunctions, dilatory tactics that will, subvert, the cause of justice.
We even have some situation whereby this charade will get to the Supreme Court in different guys, different cases, on the same thing for leadership of a political party. In the last one, I say it again, that has to do with Ondo State governorship election and the Supreme Court. It took the knowledge, wisdom for the Supreme Court. They had to consolidate everything together and say, no, we are not going to attend to this, in bits and pieces. Yes. All the cases that has to do with leadership of PDP, we are going to put it together and we are going to dispense of it. And that was what the Supreme Court did that day.
Yes, because it was clear that the former governor of Borno State, Ali Modu Sheriff, was just bent on wasting the time of the party and wasting the time of the courts. He and
Ibrahim.
no, the man is dead now. I was even referring to the tussle for the chairmanship.
Okay.
You know, he was on the same side with the late politician from Ogun State, the one that died of COVID. Buruji Kashamu. They knew they were going nowhere, but they kept at a point. They were accusing the judges of having taken money, you know, so that increasingly they will be changing the judges, you know, so that the case will drag on. That was what Jimo Ibrahim and co were doing back then.
Yes, to put down
so that Jegede will not have the time to prepare for the election. And they succeeded to a large extent because Jegede barely had up to 2 full days.
At the end of the day, it was
to prepare for the election.
The case was
you know, so at the end of the day, it took the Justice Onogen was very angry. He descended heavily on the lawyer. He got the lawyer punished. Until we get to that point, these people will not stop. In this country, senior lawyers went before the Supreme Court and asked the Supreme Court to reverse itself. Justice Amina Aujie, when she was reading that judgment, she was crying. She was shedding tears. Because she couldn't believe that that day could come. The very senior lawyers.
Abuse of court process.
The very senior lawyers, knowing that Supreme Court, there is no law that permits the Nigerian Supreme Court, the final court of our land, to review, reverse itself. There's no such law. And it was upon that the woman said, no, this will never happen, even if we were wrong. You know, they knew. But politicians will go.
Just collect money.
Politicians will go judicial officers. Judicial officers who do not respect themselves, how do they expect politicians to respect them? That's why sometimes people come to the conclusion, no. We know what
Why can't those senior lawyers, the so-called senior lawyers, why can't they say, I can't be part of this?
No, that is the thing.
That's my
That's why I'm saying that
this is...
You allow politicians to use you to rubbish the image of the judiciary. When you rubbish the image of the judiciary, what would you have left? I can tell you that in our country today, foreign law firms, they are coming in to take juicy briefs of our own local lawyers. Juicy briefs in the oil and gas, juicy briefs connected to financing, merger, trademarks and all that. They are coming, they are in our country taking those briefs. No, they take over. The foreign companies are more, they trust them more. So they are giving such juicy briefs to them and sidetracking the Nigerian lawyers.
All right.
So that's the point I'm making.
Line. Obina, thank you for staying with us, Obina.
Thank you, Mr. Ayo. I'm Obina, calling from Owerri.
Calling from where?
Owerri, Imo State.
Owerri, Imo State. Okay, go ahead, Obina.
Mr. Jide, good evening.
I agree to Nazi.
And the other guy in the studio.
Yes, Chiawu Lamoke.
Welcome.
Please, I want to comment on the issue you are discussing. The issue of, as the President has said, the issue of Rivers State, PDP court in Rivers State, it's an expected order. You know, it's an expected order that is time bound. You know, Mr. Secondus ought to have gone back to the same court, not going to other court of concurrent jurisdiction. You know? So, CJN inviting the Chief Justice of the state, for me, is a kind of making the matter look friendly. There should be sanction, direct sanction, targeted at those specific judges. You know, calling CJN Chief Justice of the state doesn't make sense. Direct sanction to NJC to those judges so that others, their colleagues, will now learn a lesson. Nigeria has gone beyond calling people on a ransom and advising them. They don't advise them. They knew what they were doing.
Thank you.
I think that will come later. After interfacing with those chief judges, I expect that the CJN will get those judges to face the NJC, and they should be punished.
And even lawyers should be derobed.
Yes. Well, even since the NBA has expressed a willingness to toe the line of the CJN and punish lawyers who come up with frivolous applications and all that. So they should if we are not lawyers, as Chiawo said, if we knew that these cases were there and that they were before courts of concurrent jurisdiction, why would people who are trained as lawyers? It's not a case of they not being aware. It's just a case of, oh, the politician has so much money to spend, and he says, look, why don't you do this for me? And they go ahead. And they always knew that the case will end up nowhere. But of course, they've taken their money. If you go all the way, you left Anambra, went all the way to a high court in Birnin Kudu that has no jurisdiction, and you got the judge to say, okay, I have vacated something that amounts to nothing.
Yes.
Okay, look at the case of Anambra State now.
Yeah.
INEC is expressing their reservation and even embarrassment that the way court orders come every day ahead of this election, today they will publish a list that has to do with candidates, and they have a deadline to even do that now.
Yeah.
That
at September 7th.
so day to the governorship election, they must put so name out. When they put it out, somebody is busy going to the Court of Appeal, and another person is busy eyeing the Supreme Court just because before this November 6th. So INEC, they will be facing the problem of printing their ballot papers, printing their other documents, despite the fact that yes, this party will be accommodated, but the names and everything that has to do with logistics.
Yeah, is a total disorder in our system, and that is why we are focusing on the NJC. That has the powers to deal with this quagmire. But the unfortunate thing why we keep on having this conundrum is the fact that both the judges and the lawyers have not been sufficiently disciplined.
No.
To the point where people will be afraid to commit such, atrocities. Tell me in Nigeria how many judges you've seen that has gone behind the bars, despite obvious cases of abuse of, the court process by the judges. Tell me anyone. But in US, is a normal thing for a judge to be handed 28 years in jail for collecting bribe. 28 years. Here in Nigeria, if, for instance, one senior advocate, was found wanting and he was is arraigned before the court, you will see 30, 50 or more senior advocates, on a kind of solidarity, solidarity with the one of their own, as if they are above the law. Nobody is above the law, even including the state.
I've even seen them.
The level of corruption.
Sue NJC. I've seen judges sue NJC.
Yes.
The level of corruption has gotten to the extent that, as at now, the courts are on vacation. People get vacation judges to come and sit on those kind of matters. And it is not a regular thing that, look, vacated judges are meant for expedient matters that, look, the backlog, so that has to do with time frame. But people still get judges on vacation to attend to this expert.
You can now see why it makes sense to bring those CJs of the states. Because a judge won't assign a case to himself. It is the chief judge that assigns. You can see why it makes sense. Before you assign, you must have the particulars of the case. You know what the case is about. So these judges themselves, these chief judges, they are culpable. They are culpable. Sometimes they know who is a pliable judge, and they go ahead to cherry pick the pliable judges. Yes, so yeah, you go and handle.
No, this
That's
one
why it
ball.
makes sense to do what they have done. We've seen chief judges arrest judgment. It happened in Abuja now.
Yeah.
A chief judge arrested a judgment just at the point when, because he saw that it would go against his person.
The CJN once did it.
Yes, a CJN did it in our country.
Yes.
So they too are just like the small lawyers and the small judges who are doing all of this.
Terminates at the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
It
Doesn't have anything to do with Supreme Court.
You see the rot in the
Supreme Court
judiciary.
arrested the judgment.
The rot, yes, because he saw what was coming and he was no.
Usurp the powers of
the
Court of Appeal.
Sultan would not be happy if this should happen and all that. That's how Baba Salami, you know, was frustrated out of the judiciary. They kept him on suspension until his time for retirement was due. You know? And there were just two of them, two judges who witnessed what happened. They lied against him. By the time that new CJ, because that was the person who was next to the CJN, that was Dairu Mustafa, the late Dairu Mustafa. Now, by convention or by practice, it is the CJN that nominates a successor to himself. So Dairu Mustafa must have thought that if he did not side the CJN against Baba Salami, that Katsina Allo will not nominate him.
You have to be loyal to Katsina.
Yes, that was what he did. And he accused Baba Salami of lying against the CJN. And then Jonathan...
counted later.
Jonathan, I'm coming. Jonathan had to now be told to wield the big stick. Immediately, he became
The CJN himself.
The first thing he did was to tell the president to lift the
Through the
suspension.
NJC.
So the president now said, okay, what has changed?
Between now and then.
If you realize that you lied against this person, you wronged him, then put it in writing. They refused to put it in writing. That was how Baba Salami remained on suspension, because it was first suggested, he wanted to promote him to the Supreme Court. And the man said, no.
My junior,
If you promote me to the Supreme Court, I will kill behind my juniors, people that I trained. Let me remain here as PCA and finish my career at the Appeal Court. That's what that's the nature of our judiciary.